Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com. This episode is brought to you by Padel. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Padel, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at padel.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When Auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com.
One thing that we're trying to get better about is not paying as much attention as we should to customer success. It just works. It runs in the background. It saves you money. You don't have to think about it. Your Snowflake bill goes down, and then we send you an invoice once in a while. This has made it really easy once people are onboarded to not reach back out and check in and see how people are doing. You have cases where someone leaves the company, like the person who brought us in leaves the company, and then no one at the company knows what we're doing or why. At one point, we had a situation where we sent over an invoice and the customer shut us off because their manager was not aware of what was going on. My name is Ben Lerner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Espresso AI.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve more. I was proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a pain.
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time. The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took
you.
it off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
to ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today how Ben Lerner is helping you save up to 70% on Snowflake using machine learning optimization on every aspect. Ben Lerner was a fan of tech growing up, alongside being into math and science. Right out of school, he joined a startup called Data Nitro, which attempted to integrate Python into Excel. Ever since then, he's been jamming in the tech and startup world. Outside of tech, he's married to a computational biologist. He enjoys padel, which is kind of like pickleball meets tennis, and of course, ping pong. Though, with his full-time job as a CEO, he often finds his hobby is going home to write some code. Ben realized that LLMs are really good at understanding code, leaps and bounds better than prior ML models. While he was at Google, he was also digging into how to apply LLMs to coding in general. Combining both of these things, he and his co-founders are seeing where this can be applied to the real world, starting with Snowflake Compute. This is the creation story of Espresso AI.
So, the product today helps people save money on Snowflake. If you're a Snowflake user, very commonly when we talk to people, they really like every aspect of Snowflake except for the bill. So that's where we come in. We can get set up pretty quickly. You don't need to worry about anything. It's all automatic and your bill just goes down. We save customers anywhere from 20, 30% on the low end to 70, 80% on the high end, which for a lot of our users translates into 6 or 7 figures in savings. What's actually happening behind the hood is we train up a bunch of machine learning models that understand what workloads you're running and when, how they scale, how they parallelize, that sort of thing. And then make sure that they're running as efficiently as possible so that you still get all the performance benefits of Snowflake, but at a much higher efficiency and a much lower cost. What we're trying to build as a company is basically a smarter engine for executing compute generally. Snowflake and data warehousing has been a good place to start for a couple technical reasons, but essentially the inspiration for the business came out of the idea that LLMs are really good at understanding code in a way that's a pretty clear step up from previous machine learning models and non-ML techniques. So static analysis and all of that. And what the front end of this turns into is tools like Cursor and Copilot. They're obviously very popular and extremely helpful. But on the back end, really what my co-founders and I thought was a really interesting application is actually using this to optimize code, to make code run better and to make code run more efficiently. And that kind of idea of using modern ML to make code more efficient and more scalable actually goes back to some work I did. So I was at Google before this, and I did a little bit of research with DeepMind a while ago now, maybe 2017. That was directly looking at, can we apply large language models to code? And obviously the answer to that is yes, as we now know. And can we use machine learning to run programs more efficiently? And again, I think the answer to that is yes, as our first product shows. And yeah, this is just taking that research and seeing where we can apply it in the real world.
Let's dive into the MVP then, Ben. So that first version of Espresso that you created, how long did it take to build and what sort of tools were you using to bring it to life?
The first version was really straightforward. Having gone through YC and having listened to that program and seen how a bunch of startups are built from the ground up, I think the first version of any product should be as simple as possible. So the very first thing we built actually came out of finding some early design partners, understanding what their workloads look like. So just doing a bunch of data analysis and machine learning on the back end, but then building a pretty straightforward heuristics-driven system in production. So something that is easy to understand, easy to maintain, easy to scale. Once we actually figured out what the right thing to build was, I think we got it out in a couple months. From the start of the company, it took us maybe 6 or so months to get someone live. So it's a pretty short time frame.
Let's stay on that MVP for a minute. I'm curious about decisions and trade-offs, right? When you're building something from the very beginning, you have to make decisions and trade-offs around how you're going to limit scope or how you're going to accept certain, maybe technical debt or maybe, limited approach to a market, all those sorts of things. I'm curious about how you worked through those decisions and how you coped with them.
I have a very technical background. My co-founders have very technical backgrounds. And to some extent, the exciting and fun, ambitious thing to do here was like to start a research lab. If you have a technical founding team, if you leave your impulses unchecked, you are just going to sit and solve technical problems indefinitely. And the problem with that is you don't actually get anything out to the market. Eventually, other people will leapfrog you, and ultimately, you're just going to go bankrupt. We didn't want to do that. So really, it's been a constant exercise in what is the next thing that we can ship that is going to bring significant value to our customers, or really for the MVP to the people who think are our customers. And you can boil that down to, in the first couple weeks, the first step is not to sit down and write a bunch of code. The first step is to go get people on the phone, confirm that they actually want what you're building. In our case, it was talking to a bunch of people who were like, yes, we're actually stressed out about our Snowflake build. We will demonstrate in some way that we want you to help there. So they sent us a bunch of data, which was awesome. And you go from there. But you really try to say, what can I ship in the next week or in the next month that is going to help people solve a real problem that we've been talking to them about? And not so much, hey, I have all these ideas of how I can apply technology. Let me sit down for a year and just try to do some research. Because I think it's very easy for the scope to slip there. Today, we're building a bunch of new products and a bunch of new features. And we always bring it back to, when is this going to launch? What can you get out in 2 weeks or a month or 2 months? And in the cases where some problems are just hard and do take more development, you should still have intermediate milestones, right? Can you run some data analysis in the next week or two to demonstrate that this is actually going to have impact in production? And not just, hey, this is a cool idea that maybe is going to work, and I'm going to go train some models for 3 to 6 months and see where it lands.
Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is brought to you by Padel. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Padel. Padel is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Padel handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Padel and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Padel as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at padel.com. This message is sponsored by .tech Domains. Picture this. You dig deep and think of an amazing name for your tech startup, spending months to perfect it. And then you settle for a cluttered .com domain with fillers and added words. Yeah, it's really disappointing. That is, unless you get a clean, sharp, and memorable .tech domain. .tech signals loud and clear that tech is at your startup's core. A .tech domain shows your focus and intent, building credibility with VCs and customers, and anyone who sees it knows instantly this is a tech startup. If you are building a tech startup, you want a .tech domain, and that's because it just makes sense. And if I were you, I'd skip the workaround domains and go straight for the loudest signal. Head over to get.tech/codestory or a domain registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap and grab the perfect .tech domain today. That's get.tech/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Mailtrap, an email platform developers love. Try for free at mailtrap.io. That's mailtrap.io. This episode is sponsored by Postman. APIs are the foundation of reliable AI, and reliable APIs start with Postman. Trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500, Postman is the platform that helps over 40 million developers build and scale the APIs behind their most critical business workflows. With Postman, teams get centralized access to the latest LLMs and APIs, MCP support, and no-code workflows, all in one platform. Quickly integrate critical tools and build multi-step agents without writing a single line of code. Start building smarter, more reliable agents today. Visit postman.com/podcast/codestory to learn more. That's postman.com/podcast/codestory. Let's go forward then. So, how have you progressed Espresso and matured it? I think to wrap that in a box a little bit, I'm looking for, kind of how you built your roadmap, which is, it's interesting to map it to the industry trends and the things that are improving all the time. And it's probably pretty fluid, but I'm curious about how you think about it and, how you go about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address.
It's not obvious. I think that you have a roadmap, and then when the rubber actually hits the road, you want to keep evaluating that you're going in the right direction. Basically, the way that we launch any major new large initiatives is always roughly the same. So we try to find 3 to 5 either existing customers or folks that we're talking to, or maybe prospects that weren't a good fit. We have some evidence to think that this feature would be applicable to them. And you go and you talk to them and you say, hey, is this something you'd actually be interested in? Maybe we did a couple of days of data analysis and we think that this would save you this amount of money, or we think that this would speed up your workloads by this amount, or maybe we're going to simplify some operational stuff for you, whatever it is. And you get people who are genuinely excited to partner with you. This part is actually a little bit tough if you haven't done it before. No one is going to tell you that your idea is bad. And so this isn't that different from starting a startup to begin with. Everyone is going to tell you that, hey, this is a great idea, and maybe they could see themselves using it and whatnot. And you need them to commit in some fashion. Like setting up a weekly meeting is a really good example, because they're not going to take 30 minutes a week to talk to you about progress if they're not genuinely interested. At a certain point, you got to push them past the boundaries of politeness to gauge actual genuine interest. And then there's a large array of ideas that we could be working on. And a lot of it comes down to, for us, a kind of very data-driven estimation of ROI. Hey, we think this project would take this many weeks or months to ship to production. And across our customer base, here is how impactful we think it would be in terms of saving people money. So we're going to go for it. Or maybe we slot that in after this other project. So we're 2 years in, for some context. And I think we're at the point where we can take a couple of longer researchy style bets, which is really exciting. But I think to some extent, you still need to keep a really close eye on that. And to some extent, you need to be comfortable with nothing coming out of the research side of things. It's just really tough. Anything that's core to the business, I think just going really fast and making sure that you're shipping something that real users are using on a regular cadence is the most important thing.
I hear you saying we a lot. Tell me about how you built your team and what do you look for in those people to indicate that they're the winning horses to join you?
A really good fit for our team is pretty, on the engineering side of things especially, is pretty experienced senior people who are very tired of the number of meetings that they've gotten themselves into in big tech. This is where me and my co-founders were when we left. We held work together at Google, and two of us left Google. Yuri had since gone to Apple, but similar sort of situation. We all felt like, okay, we like writing code. We're good at writing code. We spent basically our whole adult lives getting to the point where we're really good at this. And now we're spending a ton of time in meetings. Today, we look for people with a similar profile to that. Another really good profile for us is former founders. Being a former founder who's hopefully I'm pretty technically good. So when you talk to other founders who are technically good, I think that it's common to find someone build their first company, especially in AI, maybe spend 6 months, 12 months, 24 months on it, over-engineered something, and is now just really burnt out on over-engineering and wants to come back around and just ship code that people are using. Really, we're trying to hire people who can sit down, scope a project, and have experience, I should say, sitting down, scoping a project and just getting something into production really fast.
This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This episode is sponsored by Search. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone, and you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need Search. Search has lightning-fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open-source AI search engine is plug-and-play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. Search utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, Search delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to MailySearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. So I'm curious about scalability. This will be, I think, probably foundational to what you've built. And I'm curious how you saw it as you're building Espresso. And, has there been any interesting areas where you've had to fight it as you've grown?
Especially for engineers coming out of big tech, different people have different habits, and some habits that are good habits in one place are bad habits in another. And I think if you're coming out of Google or Apple or Meta or whatever, and you're going to a startup, you should understand that your job is to just ship technical debt, probably for the first year, if not several years. And it's going to be someone else's job to get things to scale and to fix that technical debt. And honestly, probably fix it in a way that is going to be even more technical debt for someone to fix later. All of that is to say, you probably don't need to worry about scaling as a startup at all. We certainly didn't worry about it much until we actually got to the point of having customers large enough to push our boundaries. And I think the best way to design a system, and what we try to do, is to make sure we have some idea of where these boundaries are so that you hit them when you know a big customer is coming and not, say, 2 weeks after they've onboarded and then everything can be on fire. And that's obviously not a situation anyone likes. Yeah, over-engineering is absolutely one of the ways that early startups fail. So we try our best to avoid that and just to make sure we're building at a scope and a scale that's appropriate for where we are today.
So as you step on the balcony and you look across all that you've built thus far with Espresso AI, what are you most proud of?
Something that I think we did differently from a lot of other AI startups is really go the extra mile to build a product that has a really super clear value proposition. When we talk to customers, we just say, hey, we are going to save you a ton of money with almost no effort. And it would have been really easy to build something else, right? So it would have been easy to take our idea of LLMs for code optimization and build a VS Code extension where you type in some code and you get some maybe faster code, but it's on you to check if it actually worked. I think there's much more impact and a much bigger and more interesting business to be built with. How do we take that core ML technology and actually make it super, super easy to use and actually make it extremely easy to understand what the benefits are to you as a customer? This has been super helpful for sales. This is not something we built entirely intentionally. Like, the reason that we can tell people, hey, here's exactly how much we're saving you, is because before we talk about measuring savings, we need to understand what is actually going on in production and what do we actually do to run your data warehouse as efficiently as possible. So we have a pretty detailed simulation environment internally that helps us make those decisions, so we actually know what to do for each customer and prod. And yeah, that's just turned into something that makes what we do super easy to communicate, very clear to end users when they will or won't get value. And I think that it's missing from a lot of other AI companies today where, you're selling sort of productivity gains or this or that, and connecting that back to how are you actually concretely helping your user? How are you going to help them justify this to their boss? I think we've done really well with that. And now that we know it works well, we're trying to pretty intentionally keep pushing in that direction.
Okay, let's flip the script a little bit, Ben. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
One thing that we're trying to get better about is not paying as much attention as we should to customer success. I think a big part of the pitch of our product is you turn it on and it just works. It runs in the background. It saves you money. You don't have to think about it. Your Snowflake bill goes down, and then we send you an invoice once in a while. This has made it really easy once people are onboarded to not reach back out and check in and see how people are doing, because largely they're happy. Certainly, we assume they're happy if they're paying the invoices on time. But this has definitely led to cases where, one, people just don't know that we have new features coming out or new things they might benefit from. Or two, you have cases where someone leaves the company, like the person who brought us in leaves the company, and then no one at the company knows what we're doing or why. Or at one point we had a situation where we sent over an invoice and basically the customer shut us off because their manager was not aware of what was going on. And then that turned into a little bit of a scramble to turn things back on. So that's something that we're trying to invest in more. I think this just regularly talking to everyone on the platform, making sure they're happy and having a good time. I think this is also a broader question of, as we go from a startup with an MVP to a proper sized business with real customers and real revenue, which company functions should we be building out and in which order? All senior leadership of the company is engineering. And so to some extent, we just don't know and we're guessing. Right? Should we be doing more marketing or different marketing? Or less marketing in some cases? Should we be doing customer success? Should we be, I don't know, hosting conferences for our users or something? And yeah, I think the other meta takeaway is to listen to more people on the business side around advice. VCs are actually really helpful here. If you're an early stage founder building a technical company, a lot of VCs will tell you that they're value add because they can help you with business stuff broadly as a category. And I think for the first year, that was like our investors were great to talk to, but we just needed to sit down and build and ship the product and get the first 5 or 10 users. And now that we're past that, it is actually helpful to say, hey, do you know anyone who could head up customer success for us? Like, when should we as a business be thinking about throwing more events or having a CFO or any of that sort of stuff?
I want to move forward now even further, and I want to look into the future. And I know as a startup founder myself, looking into the future and dreaming and strategizing about what you're going to do next is exciting. So I'm curious to hear, what does the future look like for Espresso AI, for the product and for your team?
Yeah, the kind of sci-fi future aspirations are definitely the most fun part of starting and building a company. I think the thing that we've learned over the last couple years is the technology works. And this is really exciting because it was not at all clear that this was true when we were starting out. And so now I think we have enough evidence to say, okay, we are really going to invest in the technical vision pretty uniquely, I would say, certainly with projects that I've worked on. The initial technical vision really is still what we're building out. Like the very first pitch deck that I sent around was, hey, we're going to use LLMs to optimize code. And that is more or less what we're doing. So bringing it back to today, we're starting to invest more deeply in, okay, we are really going to go past this kind of MVP style stuff and start really leveraging places where we see applying LLMs and other machine learning techniques has outsized returns, where we can really do much better than classical schedulers, classical compilers, classical optimizers, whatever it may be. Looking forward as a company, in some ways, so I talked a little bit about, I used to work on search, I did some research at DeepMind. The immediate previous thing that I did at Google was a role called systems engineering, where I was on a team of pretty experienced senior engineers, and our job was to just make things run better. And so we would do these really long research projects where we'd basically take results from the literature and see where we could apply them. And those things had a very high technical bar and a very long time horizon. But when they landed, it would save hundreds of millions of dollars, make everything run more efficiently, sometimes open up new lines of business depending on what exactly was happening. And so that's what we're trying to do here at scale. Take really cutting edge results and cutting edge performance gains. And instead of having a team of people apply them to each company and each piece of infrastructure, leverage LLMs and other ML techniques to do that automatically for people at scale and much faster, right? Something where you can turn on and it just starts going better. Over the next few years, we're going to get to a point where compute is just cheaper, starting with data warehouses, but I think we're going to probably turn into the default solution for most people running a data warehouse on Snowflake, on Databricks, on BigQuery, on Redshift. And you're just going to see a much different price performance point than you do today, because you can start running your team the way that, or you can start running your data warehouse the way that would normally require a very experienced group of data engineers to really be hyper optimizing every single thing. So that's the vision, just everything cheaper, easier, more scalable. On the team side, one of the exciting things is, one is we're starting to specialize more. We have an engineering team of 10 people today, and roughly broken into like systems people and machine learning people. I think we're starting to have roles opening up for, okay, we really need some folks just focused on infra. Maybe we need like an SRE or a production engineering role. We really need folks focused on building out the just distributed systems architecture for new features. We really focused on just the machine learning side of things. Two is the kind of time horizon of projects we can plan around is longer, right? So I have a lot of confidence that we'll be here in 2 years and 3 years and 4 years. Whereas when we were starting out, there was every chance we'd be gone after 12 months or something. So now we can say, okay, how do we plan for that? What kind of bets can we make with that time horizon? And one other really interesting thing in that direction is, like I mentioned before, like actually just doing more research. So just sitting down and saying, okay, here is a project that we don't think is going to land in production for 6 months and maybe not for 12 months. But when it does, it is going to be revolutionary. And so we can actually just afford to have someone work on that and try to get over the finish line.
Let's switch to you, Ben. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
I think there's a couple different answers. So there's folks on the technical side, and these are just really senior, experienced engineers that I've worked with in the past who may or may not appreciate being named out loud on a podcast. So I'll keep it to myself. But the kind of technically strongest people that I've seen that I think lifted the bar for, wow, I should try to perform at that level, right? Like they really know their stuff. And if I work hard, hopefully I can get there too. On the business side of things, there have been a few people who've been really influential. One is, so I mentioned at the beginning that I did a startup out of school. Part of the way that happened is when I was looking at quant finance roles, I personally was not super motivated by the work. And I just started looking around at what the other options were. And I found a bunch of Paul Graham's essays, which I think is like not an uncommon way for people to have come to startups 10, 15 years ago. So reading PG's essays was super, super influential. Still go back to them now and again. Still recommend them to our team. And for listeners that don't know about him, PG or Paul Graham was one of the founders of Y Combinator, hugely influential in the startup space and really an amazing writer. He has a bunch of essays, some of which are really classic about how to think about startups. So yeah, that was super, super impactful. Someone I work with more closely is a guy named Tasso Argyros. He was an investor in my first startup. He's an advisor to this startup. He's probably the equivalent of really good at business to the really good technical people. He's also like a very good engineer. When I talk to him, just often get extremely sharp business insights, much in the same way on the technical side of things or on the math side of things. If you think back to undergrad, you're just struggling with a really hard problem and you go talk to someone for 5 minutes and they're like, yeah, the answer is X. And you're like, yeah, obviously the answer is X. I can't believe I didn't see that. So on the one hand, there have been very specific helpful instances, but on the other hand, just trying to emulate that process of being able to really clearly and easily answer like challenging business problems is something I'm trying to live up to as best I can.
Ben, last question. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
One is, I think that this is the most exciting time in my career so far to be building stuff. I think that I'm just going to go ahead and assume this is an AI thing. There are, as much as some parts of AI are a bit overhyped, I think overall it's hard to overstate or even honestly imagine the impact that this is going to have on the world over the next 10 or 20 years. In the same way that in 1995, it would be really difficult to understand what the world will look like with internet 30 years later. So one, for people who want to build the next big thing, like the next big thing, give it a shot. But two is, I think, keep it really straightforward. Keep the user in mind, right? I think engineers love to solve technical problems. They love to talk about technical problems. Whoever you're talking to, whether it's someone you met on a plane for fun or your customer or an investor, they largely don't care what you did to build the thing you built. So just keep it very clear and very straightforward. If your mom can't understand your explanation, no one else can either.
Oh, I think that's fantastic advice. Well, Ben, thanks for being on the show today. Thanks for telling the creation story of Espresso.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
As a designer, you know clients want it all. A stunning site that runs their business and scales with their success. But tight deadlines shouldn't mean compromising your vision. Wix Studio is built for designers like you. Plan sites in seconds with AI-powered site mapping. Then design, starting in Figma or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layout tools. Then bring your vision to life with no-code animations, AI tools, and one-click responsive design. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
With the Platinum Card, unlock over $1,500 back in value annually on select purchases across travel, entertainment, and dining. Platinum Card membership for a trip that's next level. Learn more at americanexpress.com/explore-platinum. Terms apply.